Okay, thank you for that question.
Yes.
Well, first of all, the simple definition of export is the movement of goods and services across borders.
Right.
And so that simply means when you move goods and services from one country to another country, you are said to have exported, right?
Okay.
Who can export? Anybody can export. As a matter of fact, the last government did a lot to recruit foot soldiers for export. And so that was when they changed their mantra from how do you call that, zero export. That was when they came up with the non-oil export, because for so many years Nigeria depended on the one product, that gave us everything. It's they say the hen that lays the golden egg,
Eggs. Yeah.
So, and that was petroleum, crude. But they discovered that dependence on crude wasn't just working anymore, so they decided to go into non-oil exports, and so we started, harping on agro exports, solid minerals, and a whole lot of other stuff. And the federal government says, "Hey, if you're not doing anything useful with your time, come become an exporter, right? Come and export, help Nigeria earn forex. We'll give you incentives." And we will give you thank you gifts when you repatriate your funds. So that is to say that any Nigerian who is of legal age can become an exporter, actually.
Okay. So the thing, right? When we came up with this particular topic, I had a little bit of an issue here because every other day we hear that we have deficit in this area, we have deficit in that area. And then we're talking about exporting when we don't even have an abundance here. So how does that even work? And what are we really exporting?
When you talk about not having abundance, it depends on what you're talking about. We do have a lot of abundance in a lot of areas, right?
Okay, please.
Yeah, there are a number of farm produce that you could say we are not commercially sufficient, right? But remember that in agro, Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava anywhere in the world. Yes. So, but because Nigeria is about 250 million people, wanting to eat that gari on a daily basis, It makes it look like we're not gari or cassava sufficient, but really we are cassava sufficient. But we need to do more, right? There are a few farm produce that you could say we're not sufficient with, and so I agree with those ones. And so we need to see a lot more investment in those areas to grow potential or to maximize production, right? Okay. But when it comes to solid minerals, we're good to go. Just name it. We have gold, we have cobalt, we have limestone, we have tin ore, we have iron ore. I could give you a list of 1,000 products that Nigerians, can export from Nigeria. So really, with a lot of products, we're just okay.
So if we have a lot of products and produce that we can export, right?
Yes.
Why is it that we don't have a lot of exporters from the Southeast?
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
Yes.
For so many years, since CAC started existing, you'll find a lot of Igbo people register businesses. You will hear importer, exporter.
Yes. Okay, right? Okay. That popular thing
they will say in Igbo, Echigom Limited, I am an importer, exporter, as a way to brag that I have arrived. Yes. But the exporter part is always very dormant, right? The importer part is always more active with Igbo businesses, right? Okay. Because that's what they know. That's easy path to profitability. An Igbo man can just run to China, buy 15 containers of a particular product, come back. Before he comes back, there are people waiting to offtake those, imports. So he has his money waiting in the bank before even the containers come here. So it's something they know, right? But there are a number of things wrong with that. Number one is that importation is a drainer of the economy, right? Okay. When we import, it perpetuates this thing we're known for, consumerism. Yeah. We are a consumerist nation. Yeah. We do not consume a lot of things that we manufacture. A lot of the things that we consume come from overseas, right? So it kind of drains our economy. I like to make this analogy all the time. You can look at everybody in this room right now. You can imagine, with the exception of myself. Okay. Everything you're wearing from head to toe, is making money for some white man somewhere far away who has never visited Nigeria and probably would never visit Nigeria. Okay. And that goes for almost every professional here right now. If you go into the streets of Enugu, it's the same thing. From the glasses to the wigs to the hairstyle to the fashion we wear, it's all imported. What that is doing to our economy is that we're taking all the money we earn in Nigeria and we're shipping them overseas and growing some economy somewhere. That could be China, that could be Cambodia, that could be America, the United Kingdom, right? So these companies are scaling industries because we are giving them willingly all our money, right? Because we're a consumerist nation, right? But what we need to do is to change the mindset of our people and teach them how to begin to look inward. And that's what export is all about. We need to begin to wear Nigeria, eat Nigeria, dress Nigeria, manufacture Nigeria. We can do it. All we simply need to do is set up industries, right? So to answer your question, there's a lot we can do, but we just have to look inward.
Okay, so you mentioned we're Nigerian, and you also made use of us as example.
Yes.
Some of us here in the studio.
I love to do that a lot.
All right, let's use Aba as an example. We have lots of people who would say, oh, the quality from there, the clothing quality from there is not so nice. And we don't even have lots of them exporting their clothing to the other part of the world. Do you feel like they know that this product would not be patronized? Rather, the people over there, overseas, will not patronize us if we send this forward. Would they patronize that? Since people here are not even patronizing them.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. People overseas are patronizing Aba much more than Nigerians are.
The clothing?
Yeah, shoes, clothing, just name it. There are people, there are manufacturers in Aba that are manufacturing boxers and sending them to the US, rebranding them and selling them as made in whatever foreign country that you can talk of, right? The quality in Aba is not bad, but it's just that thing that Bob Marley says, we must emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. The black man has been taught that everything white is better than everything black or African. And so the African finds himself preferring everything made by a white man. Right, so they prefer the Marks and Spencers and the Gucci's and all of that stuff over and above what we manufacture locally, right? But the funny thing is that Nigeria is actually in vogue right now globally.
With different names?
No, I'm
do we have our names attached to this product?
Before I expound more on that, I want to talk about the authenticity of the Nigerian brand. And what I mean is, from being Nigerian, I'm seeing a lot of white people, a lot of foreigners now saying, I want to be Nigerian. I wish I was Nigerian. They want to wear Nigeria. They have a gala somewhere. They're looking for designers in Nigeria to make their fashion. I see people taking a flight from America and coming to Lagos just to make their hair and fly back the next day. So Nigeria as a brand is now in vogue globally. But the problem is that Nigerians are looking down on what we have. It's a mental slavery thing, right? We think that the Marks and Spencers are better than our local fashion. How is that, right? So that's where the problem is. But back to Aba. Aba is exporting much more than it's selling locally. Because look, there's a corridor from Enugu here through Abakaliki all the way, and then you go to Aba all the way to Malabo, right? The last 50 years, the plastics that are used in Malabo, the dustpans, the buckets, and all of that stuff are coming from Aba the last 50 years. There are Igbo people who have become millionaires shipping plastics from Aba all the way to Malabo in Equatorial Guinea. So it's not just plastics, it's fashion, it's shoes, it's a whole lot of stuff manufactured in Aba. People are coming all the way from Côte d'Ivoire, all the way down to Newi and Aba to buy things that are manufactured in Nigeria and actually ship them overseas. And they're raking in a lot of profit doing these things. But the Nigerian is saying, no, I no go wear Aba, or I won't wear Aba because you think you're better than made in Nigeria. That's a mental slavery thing. It's time for our people to actually begin to look inward. That idea that you're better than made in Nigeria is the reason the Nigerian economy is not doing well. Okay, Aba standard-wise is doing great. But we can give them the opportunity to do better if we begin to consume what they manufacture. What it does for them is that it keeps them busy, so they can manufacture much more. And the more you do a thing, the better you become at it, right? Okay. So let's start wearing Nigeria. Okay. Let's start eating Nigeria. Let's start wearing our fashion. Our fashion is in vogue globally. And why aren't we wearing it? Okay. Why aren't we wearing our own fashion that white people, Americans, Europeans are sending money to Nigeria for somebody to, buy them those?
Okay, so since we're talking about shipping, and yes, we have people in Aba sending for their goods to different countries. And we're talking about being an exporter, how to create export millionaires. How can one become an exporter here in Nigeria? What documents do you need to put together? What certification do you need to have to become an exporter here in Nigeria?
Okay, great. It's a simple process. The most important thing about export is, and that's the reason a lot of Igbo people are not playing in that. I've told you number one motivation is the fact that they can take a loan from the bank, a term loan from the bank, and run to China, bring 10 containers. Before the container lands, they've collected their monies, right?
Okay.
But the problem is that you're working for the bank. Okay? The bank gives you a term loan with very high interest rate of around 31 to 35% interest rate. So you're actually working for the bank. As against export, where you could take an overdraft, and in 15 to 30 days, your export has gone up and you received your money in USD, right? You paid the bank for the overdraft that you used, right? So that way, you're not actually working for the bank, you're working for yourself, and you're keeping most of your earnings that is coming in USD or in any other foreign currency, right? So your question is, who can become an exporter, right?
Yes.
Anybody can become an exporter. And what you simply need is to visit the NEEPC or meet a consultant like me to help you get your export license, right? The export license costs only $13,500 and you get it in 48 hours, right? But first of all, you have to have either a limited liability company, an NGO, or a cooperative. These are the only entities that are allowed to acquire an export license. So if you have any of the three, the business name can't fly. You can't get an export license on the business name, what we call ventures, right? So if you have an NGO or limited liability company or a cooperative, you're allowed to walk into any NEPC across Nigeria and demand an export license, and in 48 hours you get it. When you get that, you become an exporter. Now, do you have the skill to export? That's the big question. Most people don't have that. And that's where people like us come in. We teach you how to export. But now export is a gold mine that many Nigerians do not know about.
So it's profitable.
Very profitable. And you're earning in foreign currency. Now, a commodity that let's say you're selling this for 150,000 naira in Nigeria. Take the same commodity, ship it overseas somewhere. You could actually sell this for 10 times the price you're selling it in Nigeria. So why bother about Nigeria? But there's a very important element in the whole mix that I want people to pay attention to. Every business is as successful as the people it serves, right? Income in Nigeria is stagnant. Inflation is very high, right? And salaries, inflation is off the roof, close to 40%. And Nigerians are not earning enough. And so because Nigerians are not earning enough and inflation is taking away all their earnings, they are not spending. And that's why businesses are dying. In the last 4 years, how many international businesses left Nigeria? Close to 10 or more, because the Nigerian customer is not a valuable customer anymore. As a matter of fact, for any business, the Nigerian customer is the most unfortunate customer you can have now. That is not to insult anybody, but the fact is the Nigerian spender is not spending anymore. And if buyers don't buy and spenders don't spend, businesses die. And so that's what's happening across the board in Nigeria. Businesses are dying, right? And so, like I said, every business is as profitable or successful as the people they serve. So if your buyers who are Nigerians are not buying, that means your business is going to die. What do you need to do? Move that same business or that same commodity from this dying economy to a booming economy somewhere. And that move alone changes the dynamics and gives you a lot of profit. So if you want to be profitable as a Nigerian today, what you simply need to do is not necessarily shut down your business in Nigeria, but open an arm somewhere overseas where you could be selling exactly the same thing you're selling in Nigeria. And the arm overseas will be raking in thousands, if not, millions of dollars for you. And yet it's the same business. What changed? Dynamics. It's the same analogy with water, right? The same bottle of water, you sell it on the street, you buy it on the street for maybe 150 naira. You go to a supermarket, it's selling for 300 naira. You go to like a high-end hotel, it's selling for maybe 800 naira. You go to the airport, it's selling for 1,000 naira. Same bottle of water, same size, same brand. What changed is the dynamics of location. So if your business is not doing well in one location, all you simply need to do is move it to another location. So who can export? Anybody can export. Get an export license if you have any of these business entities that I just mentioned. Yes. But what can you export? There are about 1,000 or more exportables that Nigeria has. In the solid minerals, you have that. You have agro-allied. Our spice is doing well. The Osensuka
Yeah,
The
okay.
yellow sensuka
Yes.
is a gold mine. It's in high demand overseas.
Wow.
People neglect what we have. It's all the way to charcoal. People, cow hoof. Yes. The only reason right now they keep saying it's no more allowed to be exported. Some people will say I'm still exporting charcoal because of deforestation. Government is not really settled about letting people, export charcoal or timber, right? Mm-hmm. But something as, allow me to use the word, stupid as cow hoofs.
Okay.
When you kill cattle, the hoof
from the
cow horn, the bone from dead animals, from all the livestock
also
we kill.
Exportable.
These are all exportable. Something down to Garcinia, what we call bitter cola. These are gold mines. Something like this leaf, hibiscus flower. Okay. These are gold mines. There are states in Nigeria that are earning over $50 million annually exporting hibiscus, right? There are a whole lot of stuff we have in the Southeast that can be exported, right? But our people are just not thinking about that. Now, let me shock you. Yes. Apart from the agro-allies, our noodles are gold mines.
Noodles?
Yes, in Kenya. Nigerian noodles are selling like crazy in Kenya. So you can become a millionaire in foreign currency, over time, just exporting noodles. So in export, we have agro-allied, we have solid minerals, we have textile. We have how do you call it now? Services.
Oh yeah,
services. People like you can export your services. You can export your voice as a voiceover artist and a whole that. You can sit on a computer and do work for people living overseas. That's exportation of services as well. But you can also export what we call merchant exporting. Okay. So that means you don't manufacture anything. All you simply do is take from people who manufacture. You could take these noodles from a Dangote or Honeywell. I'm not advertising for them, but you could take their products and actually sell them overseas. Right. And the beautiful thing is that they are already registered with NAFDAC. They have the SON stamp on their products. They have the NAFDAC on their product. They have the ISO, whatever.
So you don't have to start going
through all anything. That. All you need to do is find a buyer. I don't know how much time we have, but
very little.
But the most important thing in export is find the international buyer.
I was about to talk about the financing, what the capital the person requires. Well, definitely would have you a business consultant. You're always going to be on the show to educate the viewers. Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony, for coming on board. Yeah. And that's it for today. It's the Business Report, and the Afia Business Morning returns tomorrow. Many thanks for staying with us. My name is Noma Aniwene. Bye for now.